Hey guys, we are driving, but it is
I
so cool
know,
that
I
I
know.
cannot miss it. Yeah, I'm gonna be listening. This is very exciting.
Yeah,
Excellent.
that's all the fun.
Yeah, I can see her. Yeah. Well, if you guys don't mind, if you can, please turn on your cameras. I don't like speaking to a group of words. Um, your names look wonderful, but at the same time, if you can, put your cameras on for us. Be great to see everybody's chipper faces here at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So, um, let's see, make sure my screen's going. Excellent. Okay. Well, welcome to Tech Club. My name is Jose Reyes. I am one of your vice chairs coming up this year for AIA TechSo. Um, we have been, I don't know if some of you are familiar with, if you're new here, but there's been a group of us that have been meeting for the past year or so, just about, um, every couple of weeks. Um, it's called Tech Club, and we essentially go through and it's not a necessarily we try to be constructive, but there's times where we sit face to face, and our goal from the next slide is to come up with solutions. So over the past year or so, how we phased our program is we collected information. The next step is so information's sessions as we collected our information essentially was just listing things that weren't going well for us, whether we're on the architectural side or on the general contracting side. In addition to that, we uh, excuse me, we listed things that were going well for us. We listed things that weren't going well for us. Once we got that list together, we then jumped into an analysis phase where we tried to find solutions. We essentially listed all the things that were going well and weren't going well, created a wonderful Venn diagram to see how those things lined up and to see what our next steps would be. Um, where we're at now is in the education phase. And so what we've been doing over the past month or so is inviting guests to come speak to us about um, solutions that they are developing, have developed. In addition to that, things that are coming to us in the future. So previously, we had SpecBook AI show us their product on September 10th. It wasn't just showing us their software. Um, they explained exactly what brought them to come up with the solutions that they were providing. In addition to that, they did some real-time testing on the fly, which when it comes to language models, can be kind of dangerous. But the idea was, let's see how this is, how their product is working. And again, does it look like it fits any of our wheelhouses? Does it fit in our tech stack? Very interesting. That's available on YouTube. You can go back and watch those. Um, and then a couple of weeks ago, we had Aaron with Ignite come speak with us. I don't know if you've heard him speak before, but he is a storyteller. He has been doing this a long time, and he brought to the table um, some of the things that Ignite is working on infrastructure wise. So the folks that are carrying our data, or folks like him that are carrying our data, whether we're sitting on the design team side or we're sitting on the general contractor side. So it was interesting to see how they were leveraging language models and how they were keeping our IP also safe. And then in addition to that, coming up with solutions to help us push us forward as professionals. So today, I want to introduce you to Harish Palani. He is a digital practice specialist at Perkins and Will. Um, we just between Harish and myself, in Tech Club, we've been able to speak a few times on just what I really like about your position is that you're at the genesis of the design phase, and I'm kind of on the other end. Whereas a virtual design and construction practitioner, I'm making sure that the models that the design team are putting together are fully coordinated with my trade partners on the so it was nice to speak with you when we were sitting around our round table to kind of hear what issues you were dealing with on the very genesis side of things. Now I understand, you're not just you're not the BIM guy, right? Like you are beyond the BIM guy. You're the guy coming up with technological solutions that hopefully your design teams really do take advantage of. So, without further ado, if you want to go ahead and take over and tell us a little bit more about what vibe coding is, and then, of course, how you came up, how you're tackling some of the issues that you're facing on your end.
All right. Thank you so much, Jose. Let me start sharing my screen. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Let me get started. It was a great introduction. Thank you, Jose, and thank you, Pratanya and AIA Texo for organizing this stuff. I am Harish. I work at Perkins and Will as design digital practice specialist. Yes, my role is all around technology in architecture. It doesn't just limit myself to BIM. It can be any kind of technology in architecture. I am a computational designer. Um, on a day-to-day basis, I work on like multiple things, starting from Grasshopper to one day it could be a VR setup that I'm doing. Another day I'm working on visualization. Another day I'm working on Rhino or Revit or Rhino Inside. Um, so I would like to put myself or like mention that I'm a digital practice practitioner, like or digital practitioner in architecture. So I'm part of the digital practice team in Perkins and Will. We are about 35 plus individuals throughout the globe, and we are spread across different studios in Perkins and Will. And we focus on technology and architecture, but we are also trained in education or trained architects who transitioned into technology practices. Without further ado, I'm going to start. What are we going to talk about today? It's introduction to vibe coding. If you have not heard about vibe coding, this has been a buzzword now, and a lot of people in the industry are trying to do these things now in the technology world as well, and it's slowly coming into like the building industry or whichever industry is around technology or software and started to do these things. So what is vibe coding? Vibe coding is, as I said, it's a processes that uses artificial intelligence. In this case, it would be the large language models like ChatGPT, Gemini, and different things, and use it to do coding. Use these large language models to generate code that we can use in our programs or different needs that we have. So the history of vibe coding dates all the way back to February 2025. So the word vibe coding was coined by Andrej Karpathy. So he is a part of like, he worked at Tesla, I believe. So he said the whole process of using LLM is vibe coding. So he coined the term vibe coding. It's pretty new, just February 2025. That's when the word was coined, and like people have been doing this since like 24 or like late 23. But it has taken over a lot. Like a lot of people are working on this now. So during this presentation, I'll say LLM a lot, which is, if you don't know, it's the large language model. It's just the model that we use like ChatGPTs and Gemini. These are just GPTs, which are generative pre-trained transformers. That's the short for GPTs. Um, I'm sure everyone in this call would have definitely used one of these tools. So we'll be talking about LLMs in design for this presentation. So the history of LLM goes all the way back. There's so much large language models that's available out there for free that people are using it for multiple different use cases, but that's not the focus today. Let me go to the next one. Just a brief history of how the process of AI has evolved and what we are doing right now. It used to be just rule based or a very specific system, or we used it for a very specific uh, program or needs. But now, with the advent of large language models, we are generalized the use case of AI in our practice. So, what does that mean to us? I'm going to start with a story. So I'm going to say the story of automation in AutoCAD. So this is what I'm going to begin with. There was this issue or a task that I had to work on, and there was just one missing word in an AutoCAD drawing that was already exported from Revit. This is probably like an AutoCAD drawing 3 years old or something like that. So we were missing one word that needs to be added to the drawing. So that was basically the task. And it's easy to just go into the drawing and add that word, but it has to be done for over 2000 plus, or like almost 3000 AutoCAD files. So someone to manually open all of these and add that one word in the layout in AutoCAD drawing is just an insane task to do. So what's the best way to automate it? So this is where it began. And I'm a computational designer, so my very first thought was to go to Grasshopper. Let's see if I can fix this with Grasshopper. But it just added more complexity to this process. So Grasshopper was not a solution. And we use Clarity for automation in Perkins and Will. So I was like hoping that Clarity could have some solutions. It did have solutions for it, but it's really old. They've just discontinued the whole automation process with AutoCAD in Clarity. So that was also not a solution. So just digging through internet, I found this Script Pro for AutoCAD, which is also discontinued in 2018. So that was also not an option for us to do it now. So while just browsing through the AutoCAD, I was just like saying if I could fix this just within AutoCAD. And in the Manage tab, I was able to find this load application on Run Script or Lisps. Had no clue what this is, but I'm sure this can do something. It said Run Script, so probably I can do something with this to automate some process. So I couldn't find a lot of information about this in internet. So I went to ChatGPT. I was like, I see this AutoCAD run script option, which is like it needs a .scr file. I don't know what a .scr file is, so uh, I was just trying to understand this. So I asked ChatGPT, and it started giving me the description on what SCR file is and where I can use it. So this is exactly what I want to do. I want to automate the task and do a batch processing on multiple files. So this is perfect. So this is what I need to do, but I have no clue what .scr file is or what the format of .scr needs. So with more conversations with ChatGPT, back and forth, I was able to understand that a .scr file is just a text document with a .scr extension at the end, and this conducts a series of tasks in AutoCAD. So if we just break down this file that you're looking at right now, you can see if you're an AutoCAD user, you'll probably recognize everything that's happening here. So it starts with like layout, set layout. So this is just a series of AutoCAD commands. When you run the script or this text file in AutoCAD, it'll just execute all of these series of commands. So the style, or like say you want to create a model text which says M text at line number 12, and then there's 00, which is position of the text that it needs to create, and the second position is 3 comma -3, and then the text that needs to happen, which in this case is the record drawings that I want to do on line 15. So this is what I want to do. I created this SCR file. I understood the SCR file by a conversation with ChatGPT. And when I run the script, when I run that SCR file script that I've created with multiple tests, of course. And finally, when I run the script, so let me just load it, and it runs the script on the open AutoCAD file that I have, and you can see it closes. Um, the end product was record drawings that it created on the sheet. So you can see that record drawing has been added to this one file that I had open, and that's exactly what I want. And it positioned itself in that location that I wanted by running the script. So this is perfect. Now I just need to scale this process for n number of files that I have. So how would I do that? Again, went back to ChatGPT, had a conversation with it, and it showed an option of using a batch file, which is the batch execute file. So you can create a batch file, which is also just a bunch of file, like text code. So to just give you a background, I have very limited knowledge on coding. So I've used this process to create this code, which can execute the SCR file that I have on a bunch of AutoCAD drawings. And this is the code it generated. So I've used that to run this batch file on all the AutoCAD drawings that I have. So it opens one AutoCAD file at a time, run this SCR file that I have, and you can see it starts executing one at a time when I run this batch file. And the result was just a series of drawings executed with adding that drawing text to the AutoCAD drawing. And it took about like 5 hours to complete this. So this really saved a lot of time for a designer to do this. So the entire process took me around like 2 hours to complete, right? So this kind of takes us into the next stage. Like, what are the opportunities with this whole process, right? So as human, I can talk to the LLM, and then I need a specific kind of tool to interact with the programs that we use on a day-to-day basis. But I don't know how to speak the language of the program. So I interact with an LLM, and the LLM understands what I need. And the LLM also understands the language of the program. So it acts as the intermediate between the human and the program to go back and forth. So we interact with the LLM uh, through conversations, and the conversation is converted into a code or a text. And then that text is the means of communication with the program. So this is how I see this entire process of back and forth. So this is what vibe coding is all about. So we're just talking the language of program, but we don't know how to do that. The LLM is kind of the translator over here, which can actually speak the language of the program, and it can also speak the language of humans. And we use this process to go back and forth. So what are the opportunities with this process? We saw just an example in AutoCAD, but can we just limit ourselves to AutoCAD? No. So this can be translated to other programs, like any program that speaks. What are the different languages that we have, like Python, C Sharp, JavaScript, TypeScript, and there's like all different kinds of scripting languages that we have out there, and the large language models can pretty much speak all of like create the code for all of these languages. So where can we use this? If you're a Revit user, we have Revit Python shell. If you have PyRevit plugin, you can activate the Revit Python shell, and you can generate code for Revit Python shell. This is one place. Another one, if you're a Dynamo user, you can generate code. There's a Python script node in Dynamo that you can use to generate codes using large language models and copy paste it and run code over here. It can be a Rhino script editor. So if you type the command edit Python script, you will see a Rhino Python script editor in Rhino, and you can generate code and paste it over here and run things in Rhino. Grasshopper has a Python node as well. So if you're a Grasshopper user, you can use it over there. Blender has a Python node as well. So you can see the different, these are like common programs that we use on daily basis. And if you haven't used these Python shell and C sharp shells in these programs, there are there is a whole opportunity for you to use it and create objects with just code. But if you don't know how to do the code, that's where the large language models comes into play and creates these code. But it does not just stop here. there is a lot more opportunities to do these things in different programs that we use on a daily basis. Rhino, PyRevit, Dynamo, Grasshopper, Blender, Revit, Rhino Inside. Like, do you know there's also like script creation in Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, After Effects, DaVinci Code, Unreal Engine, and Excel, um PowerPoint. There's whole plugin for ChatGPT in PowerPoint if you haven't tested it out. And like all these programs are built on a scripting language, which means you can generate code for all of these programs, right? So it can also be Bluebeam. Bluebeam, you can also build some scripts for Bluebeam. So there's a lot more opportunities to do the same thing in all of these programs. I'll show you examples on what we have done. Like I've done a research on this. I'll show you a bunch of examples that we've done. But before that, how do you actually interact with um, the large language models? So there is I'm going to start with this example over here, and like feel free to just unmute, and can someone explain what's happening in this image to me? Anyone? Like what do you see in this image? Anyone? Just a quick description of what you see in this image.
Fire ratings. You have to change some fire ratings through like the project or something.
Okay, perfect. So you're seeing just visibility graphics in Revit, fire rating, and then I've just like selected foreground pattern, background pattern. That's pretty much it. Like you can see what's happening over here. So I took this image and then I took it to ChatGPT. I was like, can you describe this image in detail? So this is all the information that I got from ChatGPT about that one image. Like I'm not giving it any, you can just read through this. I'm not giving it any other information, just that screenshot of that image that I had. And then I provided that image to ChatGPT and asked, describe this image in detail. So this is no, like anyone that I show this image to and ask them to describe that image, they will definitely not be able to describe all of these features from that one screenshot that I had, right? So it says it's fire rating, different rating, wall ratings that we have, and what's checked, like what's the visibility, what's the color, what's the RGB, and what's visible, what's on override, what's not on override, and all those things. And it even got the date and the time at which I was like working or took the screenshot at. So this is the amount of context that you are providing to a large language model when you're just giving an image. So with all the examples that I'm going to show after this, we just need to understand you need to give more context to when you're interacting with these large language models. The more context that you give, it can build on top of that and provide you a solution. So I see this more like you're taming this animal that you have to do a very specific task that you need. So if you don't give it directions, if you just ask a vague question, you're not going to end up with any results moving forward. So make sure this whole idea of using LLMs to do something is to provide it more context, more understanding on what exactly you're doing to get a result out of it. So what are the different modes of conversations and things that you can do with these large language models? You can just start with a text prompt. This is pretty common that we all know. Just provide a text prompt. So I'm going to say over here, write a C Python 3 code for Dynamo to resolve slightly off axis issue. So you can see it, this is just an inference from ChatGPT. It's like extract all the sketch lines from selected flows, identify the line slightly off axis. This is its thinking process on how it's going to build this Python script or some other script that you want. Um, so this is giving you a step-by-step process of like what exactly is happening in like in the thinking process of the large language model. And text prompt is one way to do it. Or you can also provide a sketch like before, as I said, it can understand the context. So in this case, it can also understand the sketch that you provide. So had the sketch and I'm giving like 4 different steps for the sketch and saying like have a square, divide a square into triangles, and then apply those triangles onto a surface, randomly rotate those triangles, and I'll provide a curve which you can use to create a gradient on that triangles. So this is my computational thinking process on doing Grasshopper scripts for quite some time. This is how I think about doing Grasshopper scripts. So I'm just translating my thought process into a sketch and then using that sketch and providing it to ChatGPT or other large language models and seeing how we can interact with each other. So sketches or images is another way that you can interact with them. And also there's like, you can combine them both. You can provide a text and also an image as a reference to build something off of ChatGPT and all other LLM programs. And there's also the final one, which I have not added over here, which is interaction through just a conversation. You can start talking to these LLMs that haven't found to be really good or haven't gotten good results out of it. So I wouldn't suggest using that, but it's just another option that you can have a conversation with these LLMs and get a result out of it. So I'm going to quickly jump to my Miro board that I have and show you the research that I've been doing on using VibeCoding. So I've been doing this with another colleague of mine, and we've been like going through like different chatbots that we have: ChatGPT, Claude, DeepSeek, Gemini, Sora, like Cursor, Manus AI, and all sorts of different AIs. And we've been doing it on different programs as well, like Rhino, Dynamo, Grasshopper, Python, C Sharp, Revit, and all the common ones that we use on a daily basis. So let me start from an example. So this is a pattern exploration example where I had this image. I took it to Claude. I was like, write a Python 3 code for this pattern in Rhino. And then it provided, like it always provides you an understanding of the code. Like it says, like it's creating a grid-based pattern of 8 by 8 rows and columns and generates a bunch of curved shapes that mimics the image design. So this is its thinking process, right? So, and then it created a Python code that I can copy it, and then I take it to Rhino script editor and copy paste it over here, hit run. I'm just saying like consider I have no idea of what's happening in the script. I don't even need to know what's happening in the script. And I paste it in Rhino script editor and hit play. And this is the pattern that it created, right? So this is not anything closer to what we inputted, but this is something like this is its understanding of what's happening in this pattern. And then this is just like one shot. Like this is the prompt that I provided the image. This is the prompt that I have, and the output that I got was this pattern. So this is good. Like this is where it all began, and I was like, okay, maybe let's try something else. Took a sunflowers image and then analyze this image, generate a Python 3 script for Grasshopper to create this pattern. And then you can see it said this is like a Fibonacci golden angle sequence, and it created a Python script, copy pasted it in Grasshopper, and that's like the bunch of points that I created in Grasshopper. This is not an easy pattern to create in Grasshopper. If you're a Grasshopper or a Dynamo user, this is not an easy pattern to do, but this is like almost like 2 minutes of work for me to get that pattern. So let's take it to the next step and how we can actually use this to an advantage of someone who's not experienced in doing scripting, say in Grasshopper or Dynamo, and take them immediately into this whole process and start building Grasshopper scripts or Dynamo scripts with this process, right? So this is a common one that I get from my interior studio designers on like creating tile patterns. Can you build a Grasshopper script for tile pattern? Can you do this for this wall feature that we have? And this is the reference image. So I was like, I've done this so many times, but if a designer needs to do it, there is a huge learning curve when they need to get into these computational design programs. But can this process replace a computational designer's need and take it to all the designers, and can they generate a pattern like this using the large language model. So took this image as a reference, and I'm like, analyze the style, pattern, and color, and write a Python 3 code for Grasshopper. And it created a Python script, and you can see it says, okay, this is the color palette. It's yellow, muted teal, dark green, deep blue, and white. And it also gives me how this entire thing works. It says it divides the surface into square tiles of specific size, and then like each tile is split into four triangular regions, and all the like, and applies random color to it. So with that, when I copy pasted the script in script editor in Grasshopper, I got a bunch of errors. Say I don't have no clue what this error message is. So I just took a screenshot of that, came back to ChatGPT and gave ChatGPT the screenshot. And it says, okay, so this is the error that's happening. It says cannot unpack non-iterable GUID objects. So it's just going through the issue, finding the issue in the code that it generated, and generates another code as a fix. So I copied that code and replaced the code that I had earlier. And there you go. You have a square that's divided into triangles, and then applied random color to it, all from this one Python node that I have over here. And I'm just providing a base surface to the Python node, and it created this pattern. Okay, this is cool. It created something, but this is not what I wanted. So I'm going back and telling it, so this is not what I want. You just divided the triangle, like the square, into two triangles, but it needs to be four. So it creates another one, and I copy pasted the same thing. And now this is the result that I got. So this is cool. Like it did the four divisions that I needed, but it still haven't gotten the pattern that the image had. So the next one I said, like, I need some randomization, so added random values to it, but it still didn't get the colored organization that I wanted. So I said, I went back, I took the screenshot again, I highlighted all the different patterns that we had in that image reference. And I'm like, need to analyze more on this image and incorporate that pattern organization from this image into the script. So now it goes through the understanding, and it says, okay, there's dominant white spaces. There's a lot of white spaces. So it tried to incorporate that white space in the script. So the next script that it generated had a lot of white spaces, but still the colors is not organized properly. It needs to be just one specific color. I'm like going back again. I've added a bunch of like grid lines to it, and I'm like, this output color organization is still not right. So the next one I did, it came up with this 3+1 rule, where it said like three tiles of one color and one tile of white. That's exactly what the image that I provided had. So the next code that it generated, I was able to get three colors of a specific color and one white. So this is perfect. This is exactly what all of those tile patterns have, and I used that thing, but I needed more white space. So I went back again. So this is perfect, but there's missing white spaces. Um, so can you add more white tiles to it? So it added another, it generated another pattern where now I have those different tiles with one white tile in it, and then also added some values to adding white spaces in here. So this is the output that I wanted. And the whole process was this is 2 hours of back and forth of me having conversation with ChatGPT to build this thing, right? So you can see a comparison over here. This is the whole ChatGPT process of me building this script, and you can see just a bunch of notes. I've just copied them multiple times, saved all the codes that we have. And on the other side, I've already built the script earlier. So this was a 3 days of process of me having a conversation with a designer back and forth, adding all the different values. This still works great, like the script that I built, but it's a 3 days of process to get some. And you can see the size of the code script that I have. And on the other side is a 2 hours of process. And for me to get to this point, I spent 3 years of my life on getting the knowledge that I want for me to get to this point to build a script like this. Whereas anyone can get to ChatGPT and have a conversation with it to build a script from scratch. So the whole process of this one over here is just using these large language models. It's just lowering the barrier of entry for anyone who has a limited knowledge to no knowledge on using these programs, and you can start leveraging the large language models by just having conversation and building these scripts in less than like 3 days. Like you can just understand the whole process. You just have to learn how to put a bunch of nodes in Grasshopper and have a conversation with ChatGPT and generate scripts, copy paste it over here, and you can have a fully functional Grasshopper script or a Dynamo script or even Revit plugins. So from here, it just like blows up. What are the different other things that you can do? More pattern generation. So like have a surface, divide that surface into different triangles, or like take that one row, make it into a specific color, take the other row, have like multiple different colors, or name those panels. You can just take it to like different levels and like have conversations with this program. So this is just pattern. There's also like other ones on 3D modeling. So this is another example where I'm saying create a Rhino 3D script to create the simple table, which is of the certain dimension. So it created a script, copy pasted it in a script editor, and there we go. We have a table. And I'm saying, okay, add some random circles on the surface of the table. Take that circles and do a Boolean difference, or like just uh, create a void in that table. So this is all just like a different mode of conversation on doing 3D models. So the next one, I'm going to jump to a different example over here. Yeah, so the Python 3 code, I need to create this roof structure. And how would I do that? Like just prompt it. I'm saying this is the dimension that I want. This is the roof I have. So can you create it? And this is the form that it created. So the next one is, it's another interesting one that I wanted to say. I need to create a parametric script like this for this millwork that we have. So yeah, starting with in Grasshopper, Python editor, copy paste the script. This was the first output that I got. And I was like, okay, it's creating some waves, but this is not in the right direction. So I took a screenshot, sketched on top of that, and said the direction should be on the opposite direction. And then I got this output, and I'm like, I need more like different. It created the pattern, and I was like, okay, I need more different amplitudes on it. So the next output was this, and I was like, okay, I need to rotate it in a specific direction. So can you add that rotation value to it? So I'm just building on top of the script. We usually do it by just adding more nodes in um, Grasshopper, but now it's just like copy paste another script and just add a different slider to it, and there you go. You have a functional script that you can use to do something. And another example, the same kind of process. Can you add more like amplitudes? And you can say that's just like a bunch of few inputs that you have over here. Um, and this is another great example where you can see like a step-by-step process of like create points, make lines, and join those lines. And okay, one second. Yeah. And take those lines, join them together, extrude them, and then like simply taking it to Firefly and like making a bunch of renders out of it. So just taking them through a series of process of like iteration, prompt, respond, and refine. I'm connecting to my title. So prompt it, respond, get the response, interact with the program that you have, and refine your scripts that you're creating through this process of vibe coding. Right? So there's a lot more options. This is another interesting one where I took a sketch. This is like just a simple, quick sketch that I can't make sense out of myself. I drew the sketch, but I was like, write a Python 3 code for this form in Grasshopper, and I just like wrote the dimensions on the sketch over here. And you can see in the script, I didn't say anything. This was the only prompt that I provided. So, but it can understand the sketch that I provided and make sense of the sketch. And it says, Okay, so this is a sinusoidal wave surface using NURB surface. So that's
Mm,
a sinusoidal wave surface. It made sense out of the sketch. I don't know how it did that, but it made a sense out of the sketch that I provided, saying it's a sinusoidal waves, and it created a script for it. And the interesting part is in the script, we can see the width is 100, depth is 100, and height is 20. I didn't provide it as a prompt. I just had it as a sketch in the sketch, and it kind of got those parameters from the sketch and created this form. So this is perfect. I'm saying, like, can you add more amplitude waves to it? I need to control it. So the next one it created, I was able to add more amplitude and then added just a bunch of sliders, move back and forth to create a quick form like this. This is this is what vibe coding is. Like, use
mhm,
these large language models to build Grasshopper scripts or Revit Python shell and all this kind of thing. So this got me into plugin development. I was able to create from scratch a couple of plugins using this whole process of vibe coding for Revit. It got me into plugin development, and there's like opportunities in Dynamo to do the same thing in Revit Python shell. This one, I think it just creates places room tags for all of the rooms that we have. So it's like a quick shell example that I have. And yeah, so it also helped me to get into more Python PyRevit script editing, like creating PyRevit scripts with the same process of vibe coding and back and forth conversations with it. So I want to start with another example that I recently worked on, a hackathon for AEC Tech workshop that happened in Boston 2 weeks ago. So this is called Monkeys on Keyboard. So I participated in it, and then we created this Monkeys on a Keyboard hackathon project where 9 people from different industries came together with zero coding experience and built a web app in 9 hours. So um, all from scratch. So this entire thing that you're looking at right now, it just created a 3D environment. This is using just web apps, Vercel, and Shatsy and Beat. Like there's like a bunch of things for web app development, and you can see. Sorry, I just like had a new laptop and it messed up my entire thing, but I'll try to make sense of out of what I'm seeing right here. So there's like features to add objects. I can like add objects. So this is an app. Just you're looking at an app from scratch, 8 hours. With 18,000 lines of code, 9 people together, built an entire app. And there's like a bunch of features over here, different animations, like art pieces where I can like add objects over here, add trees, like different labels, like to even like Marty said, we had a like embodied carbon thing to it. It was just a fun exercise, but it's a transformative exercise for a lot of people because they all came from different industries with zero coding experience before to build an app within 8 hours. All you need is just an idea to build it, and with all the tools that we have now, you can totally build an app from scratch. So there's a lot more features over here, different option selections and like added transforms and different things. We even added an AI image generation feature where like we can take it, we remove the API keys and connections to it now, but we can just like call different AI features and quickly generate a program with this whole process, and it can generate images. You can call Nano Banana or like ChatGPT or like Flux or like all the different kind of AI programs that we have. If you just have like an API key, you should be able to do it from scratch. And we also have different like castle loading options. And this castle that you're seeing is also, let me just refresh it. Yeah, it's called Monkeys on Keyboards. So the idea is like a bunch of monkeys coming together to do something. Uh, Monkeys build an app, so that's why it's all in monkey team. You can see it like we created a castle with just like basic shapes. of cone primitives like cone, cylinder, cube, and the entire castle was also byte coded with ChatGPT. Um, and like this is like how it made sense out of an image, or when I said castle, like it just created a castle with the basic primitives that we have. It's a JSON file. It created a JSON file in this process of byte coding. And there's like more like tall tower. I can add a tall tower over here. And I gave an image of Burj Khalifa and like, oh, can you create this with this JSON file that I have? And you can see it's just like bunch of primitive cubes and cylinders and things extruded, translated, squished, and just different kinds of transform to create this like tall tower, which almost has like 6,000 objects in it. So just a whole program from scratch and all the different features in there from scratch. The point that I'm trying to make over here is that if you have an idea, um, now it's really easy for anyone to jump into it and ideate using this process to build an app and try out different things. And it's also a great learning tool for us to take us into this the like uh, I'm using these large language models as a learning tool for me to get into a new program, understand the things, help me to go to different um, yeah, so help me to quickly get into it. So these programs are just lowering the barrier of entry. And I definitely want to share this like funny meme that we have. So it can quickly take you somewhere, but it also has a longer learning curve. It's like the one that you see in the gray is like a life before AI. We have the steep learning curve. It still is going to take you this long time to say learn grasshopper, um, but during this process these llms are just helping us to quickly take to like give us an output and then learn through this process and go down again you're learning something new, and it's more like you're taking it to next step until like you get the results. It's still going to take you some time, but you're just using these large language models as an expert right next to you so that you don't have to wait for someone else uh, to come and tell you what to do. And you can like, it lowers the barrier of entry so you can get into a new programming or creating scripts in the same process of byte coding. With that, I think I'm going to stop and open it up for questions, comments, and I would love to have a conversation. We have 8 minutes, and any thoughts on this process. If someone have already like used it, are you using this process in your workflows? And I'm coming from the design perspective. So if you like, where do you see this as an opportunity in the construction or like engineering and all the different kind of things that we can do?
Harish, I wanted to thank you for this amazing presentation and just like again showing that these days with the technology that we have, sky is the limit, and you don't need to be expert and professional in something. You just need to get started, and we have all the tools. I wanted to add just like one small thing based on my experience is that not only you can go step by step to write the entire code, you can also troubleshoot it. Like when you have the code and it's doing what you want, but it's not fast enough, it's you can go back and say, "Hey, I have it, but I think it should function like within milliseconds and not seconds." It can go back and actually fix the code for you to be so sky is the limit. Really, you can do anything by just like having conversation with this expert that we have, which is LLM. And now the good thing is that 10 years ago, if an architect had a geometry in head and could sketch it or couldn't sketch it, they may have just given up on it because they would say, oh, I don't know how to put this into Revit so we can document it. Today, that's not the case anymore. If you have any idea in design, it's buildable. And you can definitely use this vibe coding to do that. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. It was amazing.
Of course, thank you. I just still want to like emphasize on one thing. This is a really frustrating process. Like as cool as it looks, it's very frustrating. I've seen just like you try to build a cube or chair, you instantly have a result. Like this program gives you something, but to get what exactly you want, like being in like design, work with designers every day. Uh, they're like fascinated about like how these things can generate something out of it, but we are living in a world of precision, right? Like we are not just artists building something. To get something very precise and like what exactly we need, we'll soon realize like once we just like cross the fun phase of using these large language models, it gets frustrating.
Mhm.
You are not going to get your results that you need. So it needs a lot of like conversation and specifying. It's also a very big learning curve for individuals on like how exactly we need to prompt to get what you need. So that involves providing a lot more context. So all the examples that I've shown so far, you would have seen, I'm saying build the script in Grasshopper, build the script in Rhino. I don't just stop there. I'm going to say, I'm using Rhino 8, I'm using Grasshopper, and you need to build a script in Python 3 in Grasshopper. So I'm giving it more context and giving screenshots of it saying, like, this is the program that I'm using. So that kind of helps in reducing the errors that happens with large language, like all the LLMs, so that it doesn't like you're just like taming it and saying like just narrowing the solution. You're just giving it more context by saying this is what I'm using so that it can give you the right solution that you need.
No, I'm glad
So
you said that. I'm really glad you said that because that was one of the comments that I brought up on my little notepad over here is that, working with LLMs is essentially we need as technology advocates, we really need to teach our peers and really need to teach each other how to talk to these LLMs. And it's basically take the simplest set of instructions that you can. Go take have you ever done that team building exercise where you have to write down a set of instructions for like changing the laundry or loading the dishwasher? Like those team building exercises are just like because you have to explain everything to the nth degree. And I think that's where the banging your head on the table may come across when you're first working with these things because but another thing that you said, which I really agree on, is that when you get to the preciseness of the exercise, that's when you really test this thing out. Because as architectural professionals and as general contractors, we have to have a tangible example at the end. At the end of this thing, right? So a designer comes to you and says, "Hey, I have an idea." That's kind of the fun part, right? Like you can do that with a sketch pad and a pen. You can get a lot of ideas out, and the computer can then process a lot of those ideas too. I guess the interesting part is going to be those solutions that we get to the documentation phase and then the manufacturing phase. So I think we're on the right path, but I think I said three things there. I'm sorry, I bounce around a little bit. But yeah, I think what
I
you said is very, very important to be patient.
I agree. So that's where I bring the AutoCAD story that I showed in the beginning. I'm not like, oh, these are the AutoCAD that I have. Just go ahead and add the record drawings that I need. So I'm just breaking it down. I'm using it as a tool to accelerate the the work process that I have. So I'm building the SCR files. You just teach me how to do it. And this is the error that I have right now. Help me to fix it. And just utilizing these programs, it's not one end solution, it's just another tool that's going to help us to accelerate the things that we're already doing in a faster rate.
Yes, definitely.
All right, any other comments, questions, thoughts?
Yeah, don't be shy.
I'll just make a suggestion. So I've done this a little bit with some success and some huge failures, but I've also realized that you can switch LLMs if a certain LLM is just not getting it, because they
Cool.
all have their own strengths. Like Gemini, I was trying to do a batch file in ChatGPT and it failed, 50 times. And then I did it one time in Gemini and it gave me the perfect one. So
Yeah, I mean, that's another interesting point that you brought up. Like every answer is a random new answer. Like if you use the same prompt again in ChatGPT, you're gonna get like whole different answer. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I did a workshop on this, and we had like about 10 people, and they're all using the same prompt in ChatGPT, everyone getting completely different results. So that's a world of random seed, right? Like it's just randomly generating outputs. It's not giving you a thoughtful answer, it's just randomly generating an output based on the question that you give. And no answer is the same answer from the one that we did before. So it's an insane world. Like when you think about it, we live in like I'm gonna give you the same answer if you ask me about the AutoCAD problem next time. It's gonna be the same answer even after 2 years. But no, like it's an uncertain world of just randomness.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I think
good.
it's like the craziest part about it.
Yeah, good point. If that tool isn't working for you, put that tool down and use another tool. So don't do it over and over again. So that makes sense.
From my experience, what I have realized helps is if what you want to achieve is a long process, divide it in chunks. That is one. Smaller chunks, see how it thinks. Give it data instead of, at least Harish, in my experience, images don't work that well. Um, if you want to communicate, and I was trying to do something for documentation, eventual fabrication, so not the pre-stage, but the post-stage. And after trying a lot, I realized that divide it in chunks, but also talk to it. Tell it not to write a code because it does a lot of code editing, lot of helper functions, changes them, then those definitions are not available in the code anymore, etc., etc. All of that happens. So talk to it first and let it understand what you want to do. And when you are satisfied with the plan that it's chalking out, then tell it to execute a code. In my experience, that worked like the most. Still, like I had to do a lot of back and forth to achieve what I was trying, but it just understood the task better with like actual quantities. There are 2000 panels. Some of them are planar, some of them are non-planar. How many are non-planar, etc., etc., like
I
a
I totally agree, Projector. That's a great point that you brought up. Like these are not like end solution tools. Like we're just like entering into a different, I don't know how to think about this. Like it's a different kind of world that we are entering into when we talk about like modeling and stuff. And yes, it cannot do uh processes that has like longer thought. Like it's really good at doing very simple, quick tasks. Yes, I agree in projectors things. You have to break it down. That's why like the entire process I'm showing, like I'm giving it one step at a time, describing it one thing at a time, and then you get a result out of it. Um, it's not a good program for doing like, oh, just build a script from this image that I'm giving you. You're just going to get a random image output or like a code output. It's an iterative process, like a design process that we have. It's just so iterative. There's like not one quick solution to things, but just the idea of like where these tools are taking us, I think is the fascinating aspect about it. It's not there yet. We can't just say, "Oh, build all my things," and like someone can generate it. There's still a huge aspect of human that needs to be um, just guiding it to what we need to do. Um, but I think the process is interesting
Yeah,
and
I
frustrating.
absolutely agree. I mean, I feel like let it do like the really difficult math calculation parts, but then you still control some of the parts in Grasshopper and Rhino. That combination works like much better than, for example, your tiles prompt, right? I was thinking about um, if you had just given it one square, made it divide it into four triangles, told it to do three triangles of orange, gone like build the script with like one module at a time and then gone ahead, it probably might have done a better job. Might, I
Yes.
don't know,
So
but yeah.
so the interesting one is like when I give it to a designer and ask them to do it, who has no idea. Like I know, Projector, you've worked a lot on these kind of facades and stuff, but um, when someone with like I've shown this to a couple of friends, and they're like, I don't think I would have used the same language. Like I'm saying, oh, increase the amplitude in this one. They're like, I don't know what
Mm.
amplitude for this one is. So this kind also requires them to do the computational thinking. They need to understand how to build something. The like if I want to build a facade in a specific way, they still need to understand. So this is how I break up the geometry, and the next step should be like divide the square into multiple triangles and then organize them in a specific way, and then take them to the next thing. And like we still need that computational thinking
Yeah.
as users, and just help ask the LLMs to or just we should navigate the LLMs to do what we want, right? Like I think that's still requires just a different kind of thinking.
I don't think it's a different kind of thinking. I think we're probably better at it as architectural professionals. Like we're always taught that process is key. And so I think maybe that's why we're having better experiences, I think, with LLMs than other industries, is because I think we're taught from the beginning that you need to show your work and how did you get to the end design. So I don't know. That's just a thought. Maybe that's why.
All right.
Hi, I'm Roy. Thank you, Harish, for the amazing presentation. Really liked it, really enjoyed it. So one of the things that I think has worked with me, I'm a designer. I'm the one who's like kind of like the people Harish is working with, but I don't have a tech team with me to help me with those things. Uh,
You are the tech team.
I am the tech team. Sometimes I dabble into stuff. So one of the things that I've realized developing plugins for, I use mostly SketchUp a lot, and their Ruby script plugins and stuff. Like, and don't have any coding language expertise about that. But the problem I've associated is the large language model. It's so large, it doesn't actually know what to think, and it's trying to gather information from all the things. So if you can train up your agent to look at specific stuff and narrow down that knowledge base, the answers it produces are pretty fascinating, and it works way faster. It has less errors and gets you to faster in places that you want to go to. I predominantly use Copilot. I know Copilot and Perplexity can be taught to look at certain things and ignore certain things. Like if I want to develop a program about like creating a like grasshopper script, I literally give it datas, or like go look up the Python scripts, like only look at people who has been working and developing the grasshopper plugins and those kind of things. So it already narrows down and it doesn't misproduce the amount of weird generation it used to do. But since you and when you're training the agent, it asks you like, what do you want this agent to do? What is your end product going to look like and stuff? And you can also go back and train that agent more. So at the end of the day, even if you're getting to the end product faster and faster and faster, because you can go back to the agent and training that agent, aka that I call it the noob software developer, because it
No,
has still has a lot of
I
mistakes, but
I
it's
agree. Like
learning with you,
yeah,
right?
it's just it's goes back to Tanya's point. Like the possibilities of endless, right? Like you still need to give that context. And my research is called "What's the Question?"
Yeah.
So like it's an internal research that I'm just doing with fucking so well. So it's called what's the question? The LLM has all the answers that it needs. So what's your question?
Yeah.
So you need to answer your question. Like what's you just narrow down your question. But yeah, that's great points. We can like the possibilities are endless. Like um, I think we're just scratching the surface with these programs now. And it's fascinating to see what other people is doing at the same time, and everyone's learning to use these tools almost in a similar way at the same time. Like everyone's figuring out this vibe coding process on their own, and like using this in design processes. I'm seeing a lot of examples in LinkedIn every day. And yeah, when you talk about LLMs, like there's new ones coming out every month. So oh, this is better than that. Like Gemini is doing like way better job right now. Our Cloud is there. There's Grok that's coming out, and there's just constantly new updates and improvements that's happening with these programs, which is really hard to catch up. I don't know how you guys are doing it, but like it's really hard to catch up with these things. With every day is a new thing every day. But I think it's great conversation, a lot of good points. Thank you all for joining.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
thank
yeah. We can have more workshop. People are interested.
Yes, I just wanted to quickly say we will be more than happy to have more workshops if this is something that our community is interested. So, and if Harish accepts to have to lead those workshops, it's going to be great for us to gather at AIA or Texo or in one of our sponsors' offices and code together. So let us know if you're interested, and we're going to make it happen.
Yeah, I would definitely be down to hang out for a few hours if you can teach me a few tricks there.
Yeah, we can
Um,
all get frustrated together.
yeah, get all frustrated together. I don't know. Maybe we have to have our own local vibe coding slam, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to a degree, I feel like. Um, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well, if there aren't any more questions, I wanted to, let's see if this thing will move. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, um, our next tech club meeting is going to be on the 22nd. This one's going to be in person. Tanya, yell at me if that's not the case. Sarah, yell at me if that's not the case. But I think we are in person.
Yes, we are.
Okay, and so this one's in McKinney, I believe, at it's at Bluebeam's offices. Is that right?
Yes, it's at Bluebeam's office in Dallas. I'm not sure if it's McKinney or it's DFW,
Oh,
and
okay. I'm
they are
sorry.
hosting it.
Maybe it's
Yes.
off of McKinney. Again, look at the invite, register, please. It's on the AIA Texo. It's in the calendar area. But Eric and James Chambers, they're essentially going to kind of show us what Bluebeam can do. I know a lot of us in the industry use Bluebeam, but are we really using it? Or are we just kind of opening it up and making a markup and then creating another PDF? Are we using all the Bluebeam spaces correctly? So they're going to walk through that. And then in addition, another tech club we're going to have at the beginning of November, Igor Starkov with Teleworker AI. He is been working with our company on robots, basically doing reality capture, and then in addition to that, um, taking those reality captures and also integrating into augmented reality and VR, mainly augmented reality. But so he'll be speaking as well. And with that, I think yep, that's it. Okay, yep. So that's the end of my notes. Um, if we don't have any more questions, are we posting this on YouTube? I know we're definitely recording these and we're then posting them at a later date. So please share with your peers and coworkers. Haresh, thank you so much. That was very, very, very eye-opening. I did not know what vibe coding was specifically, so thank you. And now I feel like I can maybe BS my way through a happy hour a little bit. So thank you very much. I do want to learn more though, so maybe we need to bring that up into another topic here pretty soon. So that'd be great.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you. That's a good one.
Hi,
Thank
guys.
you
All right.
all. Thank you,
Thanks.
Jose. Thank you, Harish. Thank you, Sarah.
Bye.
Thank you.